You're on the podcast with
Dino and Ashley.
Wow, you harmonized.
No, I didn't. That's not harmony. Well, good good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm going to fully admit I feel in a brain fog today. I don't know what my deal is.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just like woke up and I've never really like fully woke up. I think I just need a lot more coffee in my life on a consistent basis.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like that's just my phase of life.
More coffee?
More coffee. Yeah, I want a shirt or a hat that just says more coffee.
I mean, how's everyone feeling right now?
I wonder how many times I've said I want a shirt or a hat with some random saying.
I hope there's somebody out there in the podcast world that's like taking note and like doing all of our marketing and branding for us. And all of a sudden we're going to get a package with all this crap in it.
Stuff. Like,
it'll be amazing.
That was a terrible idea. Why did I think that was a good idea?
Wait, you know who that person is. That's Brooke. Brooke is doing that.
Exactly.
Brooke is our COO, and she's always has an ear and doing something.
Always. I feel bad for her. She has to basically listen and watch everything we do. And,
I know.
Yeah.
She's the best, though.
This is an exciting week for you.
Very.
You get to do something outside your comfort zone yet.
It is out of my comfort zone because I've never done it before and because it's scary. But
friendly.
No, I got asked to speak at a women's event in Fort Myers. So we're going to drive there today, actually. I'm going to speak and I'm really excited about it. I've never done anything like that before. And I've been asked to do things like that over the years. And I've just said, no, I don't do that. I don't speak in front of people. I speak in front of hundreds of thousands of people on my phone, but I don't speak in front of real people. Being on the worship team and being pushed and stretched in that way has really made me feel more comfortable. All the stuff that God's just been doing with you and I and me personally and stretching me and growing me, that he placed something in front of me, an opportunity came in front of me and I hesitated and I didn't say yes. Then it got canceled and I was disappointed and I was like, all right, Lord, well, clearly I should be doing something like this because you're definitely making me feel like I want to do it. But the opportunity went away. 2 days later, I got asked to do this one and I was like, all right, God wants me to do something.
And
he wants me to
how
be
many
pushed
other
that way.
times have you been asked to speak at things?
I have been asked in the past.
You have?
Yeah, a few times.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And had you previously been interested in doing it?
No, I already said I started out. Were you listening?
I zone out sometimes. Trying to
note the coffee.
Zach just cut all that.
No, it's so good. Zach, do not cut that.
Just cut it all out. All right.
Zach, you better not cut that. I write the paychecks around here.
What I was trying to get at, actually,
this is what happens when we hang out with Eric and Susan all the time. We'll literally be talking about stuff.
There's a reason why I wanted to ask. I was actually asking that because you got asked very recently 2 times in a row to speak, and prior to that there wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, not in the last little bit.
That's what I was trying to get to. It was like, oh, what a coincidence that you've now been asked a couple times, aka it feels a little bit like there's a common theme here of you starting to do something different.
Yes, I have been asked over the years, but it's been a while, you know, and I've never even considered it or thought about it. But when I got asked the first time before the hurricanes, I was like, ooh, felt like a little push and a nudge towards it. But I'm very excited about it. It's a busy week this week. We had a women's event at our church. We have, which I sang worship at. The event tonight, we have our Christmas party tomorrow night for Arrows and Bow and the Fox Mercantile. So that's going to be at our house.
Which I'm very excited about. I get to cook steaks.
Yes.
And not any steaks.
Snake River Farms. Brought to you by Snake River Farms.
This podcast brought by
I wish.
Snake River. I would love Snake River Farms.
Snake River Farms.
If you want to sponsor the podcast, we've never done a sponsorship, but man, would I ever like to be sponsored by red meat.
Red meat.
That's it, you know?
So Dino's going to cook steak for 31 people.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be a lot of meat.
I feel like that's actually not enough people. We have more employees than that.
31?
Well, and their significant others, I guess.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so excited about that this week. It's a good week. And the whole thing with the speaking at the event tonight is I am just so excited to be stretched. And that's what it really comes down to, is I'm doing something that I have never done before, and I know that God is in it. So I just am excited to do things that God's in. It's only going to make me grow closer to him, stronger, grow in my faith, and grow in maturity in my walk. So
yeah, it's actually a cool situation, because in you being pushed on stuff like this, I get to be like, oh, I want to come along and play. And then it brings along this whole way.
Just look down and I have chocolate. I have chocolate all over my sweatshirt.
You're just as bad as I am with like not listening and like doing other stuff. You're just as bad as I am, but I don't call you out. I just laugh at you.
Zach, don't cut this.
Yeah, I don't even remember what I was saying.
Okay, well.
I was saying it's cool that you're doing all this stuff with the speaking, because anytime you and I are going through aspects of life, one of us is the trailblazer on that area. And the other one ends up being like, oh, I want to come along with. So it's kind of cool. I'm watching you do it. It's motivating and encouraging to me, being like, what other things that maybe I want to get involved with and stuff like this, you know?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we mentioned this on podcasts before, but I think we have. But the last maybe 6 months ago, I told Dino that I felt like God was going to be shifting us into more of a ministry focus instead of a business focus. And it's just kind of cool to see now, looking 6 months back, all the little things that he's kind of put in front of us and given us opportunities that it is cool. Like what I felt like he was kind of showing me is he's actually doing in our lives, but we have to be willing to say yes and say, okay, I'm going to do this, Lord.
Yep.
So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely been exciting. I mean, you and I yesterday were talking about this current phase of life as well, where there's certain things that we're uncertain on. And it'd be great if you even were saying, hey, it would be really nice if you just kind of knew what we were supposed to go do with this next phase and just would like run with it kind of thing. But yeah, it's exciting to see what God's actively doing. And then it's also very humbling, because you're having to go back to this state of, all right, I don't know what we're doing right now with this other area of our lives.
Well, I think it helps with our faith too, just knowing, okay, we don't have to know everything, but it's like God gives us these sweet gifts of right now. It's just these reminders that he gives us that's really sweet, that just shows us that he is with us and that we don't have to know what's coming down the road, but he's like showing us little things right now, you know? We get to say yes. Yeah,
I think it's definitely important to make sure that, I mean, a lot of times you and I get into a position of comfort and I'm like, oh, this is nice and delightful, but you're not learning anything when that takes place. It requires you to be in this state of uncertainty where you have to be reliant and dependent on what God's got in front of you.
Well, this week I wanted to talk about jumping into something else.
Yeah, I like it.
Chocolate on my shirt. We just are all over the place. No, but this week I was like, you know what I think would be really fun to talk about is friends in your marriage and how valuable they are. And I don't know about everybody else, but for Dino and I, when we got married, so Dino had his Bible college friends that he's still tight with, like these 4 buddies. Wait, 3. There's 4 of you, 3 buddies. And he still talks with them on Marco Polo every day. They've stayed connected. In high school, I wasn't really a believer. And then I didn't go to college, got married super young. So we got married and I didn't really have a ton of like solid friends. I had friends that I went to high school with, but nobody super close. And then over the years of being married, we've had different friends coming in and out of our lives and been hurt by friends. And I'm sure we've made many mistakes in friendships too. We've mentioned before that we've prayed for friends that were like 10 years older than us. I mean, we were specific too, which is crazy.
Yeah.
We would just pray, like, we would just want like friends that are 10 years older than us, people that we could look up to and just be ourselves with. And for us, our biggest thing is loyalty. We just really, really value loyalty because we are weird and we do like live a different life and we just want to be able to open up to people, share everything. I mentioned this when we were talking about the Enneagram. We want to like pour out everything to everybody for people obviously to be cool with that. In the highs and the lows, in the weird stuff, when you say stuff that is like maybe a little bit off, but your close people aren't judging you, you know, it's like a marriage, really.
Yeah.
Like you want to have like a level of vulnerability. So we had prayed for this for years and didn't really have anybody in our lives until we moved to Florida and we met Susan and Eric. And I mean, it's like the biggest blessing. I feel like we're like little girls when we come home from hanging out with them, and we're like, oh, aren't they just the best? Yeah.
We do that.
But the great thing is I know they're doing the same thing about us. Like, that's why we can say that, because I know they're doing that. So the whole point of this is like, we should be, number one, we should be praying for people in our lives that we can be completely vulnerable and open with, and that we can, you know, be ourselves with as a married couple. And I think it's important to specifically have it be like another husband and wife.
Yeah.
You need that. You need the connection crossways in all the ways. It has to be that way, because I could have a really close best friend, like girlfriend, and you could have a really close guy friend, but that's not helping us.
Yeah. It's
and when
lives.
we hang out with Susan and Eric, it's helping our marriages. Yeah. And that's the whole point.
Yeah. I think that obviously, all right, so we're talking, again, just friendship and marriage kind of thing. So you said a couple things. Number one, I think that it's important as individuals for us to have our own friends and be intentional about curating those friendships to be something that's intentional. So what I mean by that is I don't want negative or bad influences on our marriage from my friendships and friend groups. So I've been intentional about curating my friends and the people that I hang out with to only be people that are going to be motivating me, incentivizing me in the right directions and pushing me down the right paths. I don't want anybody in my life. I don't want any guy friend in my life that's going to be encouraging me to do stuff that's not on point, you know?
Yeah. And it's not, and you don't want like we've talked about too, like a person that you can go to and you're just like bashing your husband. Like that's not the goal. You want somebody that's gonna be like, well, what did you do wrong? Yeah,
exactly. So that's one thing is me and my outside friends. At the same time, what you're talking about here specifically is couple friends. Like, and you and I have gone through a whole bunch, just to reiterate kind of some of the stuff that you were just talking about from my perspective. You and I have had different phases in our married lives with different phases of friends. We will go through a phase where we're kind of like ministering into some of these friendships. So for example, you know, Eric and Susan, they're 10 years ahead of us, but they kind of help us, I feel like, in a lot of ways. But you and I have also been in phases where we've also needed to be in some people's lives just to be able to like feed into them and be there for them. And then there's other aspects of our married life friends where it's been, you and I wanted that like perfect couple almost, you know, where it's like I get along with the guy and I get along with the girl, or the girl doesn't at least drive me crazy. But I actually love Suze. That's the whole thing. She's like my sister. And same goes for you. Like for you to be able to get along with the guy and the girl, because I got to say, one of the worst things ever is when you and I go, I've specifically requested that this never happen. We go on a date with another couple and I spend 2.5 hours sitting across from a dude having basically a guy
Your
date.
Own date. Yeah. And then I just get these like under the table leg squeezes like,
oh, please tell me other people.
Like, I'm trying to get out of the conversation too.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to loop it back in.
A little bit of a rant here.
Bring it together.
The worst is when it's all four of us, we're sitting down and we start a conversation and I'm talking back and forth in a group scenario. And then all of a sudden one of the girls are like, they cue off on another, and I'm like, whoa.
Come back.
I'm not here by myself now. What just happened? Now and how do I get this back?
You can't.
I have to like pause the current conversation and switch over here and try to
just be like, oh, what do you think about Ferrari? You think they're going to do good, Ash? Yeah. You have to like try to bring me in somehow.
Or start telling a story and be like, you know who tells the story better? Ash does, you know, like, come on, babe. No, but I'm totally joking around about, you know, other couples and stuff. But in general, yes, there is this desire that I think every couple should have to be looking for another couple in their lives that can push them, you know, can encourage them, be there for them, you know, like I think this is the first time in our married lives of 18 years that we found somebody that we really, really click with, that is there for us like unconditionally and supports us. And that's so valuable.
Yeah. But I think that the reason why this came up too is because when we hang out afterwards, you and I are so happy and we talk about like deep conversation. So there's even a deeper level that close friends can bring within a marriage, if you can find that and pray for that, that can be really beneficial for your marriage. Like it brings a closeness with you and I.
Yeah.
Because you and I end up talking about a lot of things that could come up, or, you know, because we had so much fun, you know, it brings about other conversations.
Yeah. The goal would be to have another couple where you don't feel like you have to curate who you're representing, right?
Yes.
You can just speak without filter and things like that, right? Because so many times you and I would get done an evening and hanging out with a couple, and you'd be like, why'd you say this
Why
thing?
did I say this?
Why did I say this? Oh,
I talk too much.
We talked too much. We didn't ask them enough. Quite like we didn't do that. And it shouldn't.
Do other people do that? I
would like to know. I'm hoping that this resonates with somebody listening.
I think we're weird, but we totally do that. And then we'll go through phases where there have been phases where we've hung out with people. They've been, like I said, we go all in, and then we get hurt by them somehow. And I don't feel like we're easily hurt or offended people. It's like big stuff where they just kind of like leave us, or there's a big thing happening. But then afterwards, we'll go to hang out with new friends, and we're like, all right, let's not tell them.
Be on good behavior with this
thing. Let's not talk about this, or this. Don't talk about that one, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we even doing?
Yeah. And
why are we hanging out with people?
Remember the last time, they're sensitive about this topic, so don't talk about this, and make sure you ask about it. It's like,
I mean, we have to have grace for other people because like there are times, like you said, there's times when we are pouring. Some relationships are more of us pouring into other people, and it's not just about like us getting something.
Totally.
So we have to have grace in that. I just wanted to like spur everybody on to like, it is really, really special and really important, and that we can pray for that. And God wants that. He wants us to have community together and break bread together and
do life in a community.
Right? And
that's what Eric and Susan really are. They're like an extension of our family almost at this point, where they are like our support system in our community. Susan homeschools our kids. They love us that much and take care of us that much, you know? If I have anything going on in life where I just feel like I'm kind of faltering, I could call up Eric and be like, I have to unload and not be filtered, you know, and have to think about things, because I know he'll always look at what I'm saying through the lens of, I know who Dino really is. Therefore, I don't have to choose my words so carefully. I can just be like,
just a freedom.
Yeah.
There's a freedom in that.
Yeah. And I definitely would love to encourage everybody as well. Please pray for that, for other people to kind of come into your life, but then also look for the opportunities where you could be that for other people as well. You know, Ash and I have needed it so many times in our marriage, and different people have fulfilled different aspects of what we've needed at times. But now we're at a phase where we just have some amazing people that have come into our lives.
Another thing that just popped into my mind too, just with friendships, is something I've made the mistake on, and I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I've made the mistake before of prejudging somebody that I saw. We dressed totally different. We looked totally different. And I thought to myself, this person is not going to want to be my friend because we dress differently. Like, I know that's so stupid, but
I feel that way a lot.
No, but I just was like no, it wasn't even, I didn't care about the way that she dressed. Honestly, I really didn't. But I put that judgment like on her about me, that I didn't really give her the time of day, because I was like, we're just not going to relate, because I can see from the outside that like it doesn't look like we care, not that we care about the same things, but I'm definitely missed out on an opportunity. And I felt so bad about this. Like, I asked God for forgiveness on this, because I missed out on an opportunity that, number one, God could have been using me in somebody's life. This was years ago. Or number two, that like I just missed out on a friendship that was really, really special and amazing. But because I put like a judgment, either prejudged somebody else. I mean, I was judging her based off of thinking she was judging me, you know?
Yeah. I think it's easy for us to just pick an attribute and then be like, I'm going to make a knee-jerk reaction on this is who you are,
totally.
Right?
But that person ended up being very, very special to me, and also made me realize too, like, the kind of friend that I really love having is somebody that I can trust and, you know, be like with loyalty. So that's a really important thing too, is to, you know, can't judge a book by its cover, or like even play those games. That's Satan really like messing with your mind, saying,
yeah.
she's not gonna relate to you.
Yeah.
You guys aren't gonna be on the same
there's no
page.
compatibility
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
When she was a great friend.
Yeah. So yeah, there's obviously some amazing attributes of some cool.
I think we
cool
should
people.
name this podcast Susan Eric.
Just Susan
Just
Eric.
Susan Eric.
With a Z? S-O-Z?
No, it's
double O-Z?
S-U-S.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just like a little something that I think it's important. I think it's important individually for the friendships and then also within the marriage.
I think from a Christian perspective, we're called to be part of a community as well. When you self-isolate, even by yourself, as with no friends, you end up lacking outside people correcting you. And Jordan Peterson even talks about this. It's a huge important aspect of childhood development, is that when you are in amongst your peers and you have bad behavior, they automatically will self-correct. You know, that whole organism of like youth, they self-correct. If you watch like Gabe and Gav around other kids, if Gabe and Gav do something that's annoying, the kids are just going to be like, you're annoying, and stop. And I think as you get older, you start to, it is a type of person who, probably my type of person, who enjoys self-isolating. And when you do that, you end up missing out on opportunities for those around you to kind of help bump you in the right direction, you know? So obviously as individuals, it's really important to make sure that you and I have our own people that we're curating and are helping us in a positive direction. You and I as a couple should ensure that we're creating a general community, and then make sure that you and I as couples are also looking to see what opportunities we could have to feed in, where we're not actually getting anything from it. It's really important for you and I just maybe once a month or something like that to have dinner with some couple that we feel like we can be there to help support them. Yeah. Because I remember like you and I in those first early years, especially when the baby was born, we just had nobody. When Gabe was first born, we had nobody we could like.
Well, I think that's the hard thing. And that's why this is so important is, and within a marriage, it can be isolating. Within like having kids, you just get busy and then you end up just not doing much and not having that connection. And the whole point of this is that it can actually help build up your marriage if you invest, and you can pray for couples that will help build up your marriage and like be a part of it and like come in and you can feed into each other. Yeah.
It's funny. Doctors actually have a way of, when they're going through school, they have higher retention and learning when they do I forget what it's called. It's like watch one, pair with one, show one, or something like that. So you have somebody above you that you're constantly looking at to try and learn things from, like a doctor.
Yes.
Again, it's the doctor analogy is irrelevant, but you have, so in the context of you and I, we have somebody above us that we're trying to get information from and seek wisdom and knowledge and discernment and be corrected by, having peers that we are trying to like do life alongside them, and then also have people that we're encouraging, because a good chunk of the lessons that you and I are going to gain as a married couple is when we know it so well that we could teach it to somebody else, then we really, really know it, you know? And the same, that again is a concept from when you're teaching somebody else a concept in school, you know it so well that, you can teach another human being that thing. So I definitely would encourage people to do that. Yeah. We're going to take a break from podcasting for a minute, no?
Yeah. So we're going to have one more podcast after this. Then we're going to take I believe it's a 3-week break. Yeah. And then come back. I don't have my calendar.
That's okay.
I think it's like January 13th or whatever that second Friday is.
I feel like we really should do a Q&A for our last one before.
Well, either
we said we were going to do one before, but
or it could be during the break.
Sure.
Yeah, I would love to do.
That was what I was going to ask you to do the other day when I was in front of the kids, and I think it would be fun to ask on your Instagram stories on the fill-in. Like, do you have a question for us? Yeah. And it can even be like...
So we'll do that for this last one. All right, okay, cool. So we'll do a Q&A for the last podcast. You can either, if you're listening, you can email us and let us know that way. Or I'll put a thing up this week and put a question box, because I think it would be really, really fun to be able to answer specific questions.
Yeah. I think it'd be really fun. I think that some like generic ones, and then maybe even some like hyper specific ones, like me and my husband have this very specific type of thing. Yeah. I don't know. It'd be fun to just see what you and I don't know, even if it's, my fear is that we're just going to give the worst advice ever.
People can take it with a grain of salt. Listen,
No, I'm totally kidding.
We're not doctors here. We're just sitting in our little vestibule area chatting back and forth.
I know. We're about to get a door right there. Oh, I can't wait. I want that door, girl.
It's sexy time.
I know.
That's why.
That's why. Exactly.
I did want to just say too, as we're like going into the busy season, we're already in it. It's been happening for a while. Just a reminder, just to everybody, just take a breath, take a moment. Remember, that the Lord is our hope. He is the reason that we're even here right now. And he is the reason for the season.
Oh, jeez.
But seriously, but not just this season, but for every single day. And then I just think this time of year gets so clustered and chaotic. Just to pause for a moment and just regroup. Make sure you're reading your Bible and not getting caught up on all the crazy. I know that it can just be really stressful for everybody. Okay, well, we will gladly take the questions and we can't wait to answer them on the next podcast.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun one.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see you later.